So hi, Assalamualaikum and hi. Today we are group 3 will be present to you about Fukushima nuclear disaster towards food pollution. My name is Noraiza Nameera. I will be present to you about the introduction of Fukushima disaster nuclear towards food pollution. Fukushima nuclear disaster occurred on 11 March 2015 at the Fukushima Daiichi plant in northern Japan. It was the second worst nuclear accident in the history. It happened when the tsunami wave were generated um, were generated by the main shock of the Japan earthquake that damaged all the backup generators and power supply at the Fukushima Daiichi plant. There are 3 reactors that were operating successfully closed due to the incident that happened. Moreover, the radiation levels in food, water, and the ocean near the plant increasing, which it leads to big concern to food security. This caused that there are food scarcity towards the state. Most of the farmers are being affected by the high level of radioactive substances because there are the ocean were contained with there are many chemicals that polluted in the ocean. However, no one died in this Fukushima nuclear disaster. That's all for me.
Hi, I am FARAH. So I will explain about the option for the intervention. So the first intervention is the Japan will establish an administrative system to control the radionuclides in food to ensure the food safety. So in Japan, actually under the Nuclear Emergency Response Headquarters, the multiple national and local governmental entities cooperate in setting standard like a regulation and guidelines for control of the radionuclides in food, as well as conducting monitoring and also enforcement measure to ensure the safety. As you can see in this figure 1, this nuclear emergency response headquarters actually was established based on the Act on Special Measures Concerning Nuclear Emergency Preparedness, where it imposes limitation on food distribution and consumption, as well as inspection procedures. And based on this restriction and guideline, the prefectural government are responsible to develop and also monitoring plans and limiting food shipment and also the intake, where the activities of the prefectural government are supported by 2 ministries, which the first ministry is the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries, and the second ministry is Ministry of Health, Labor and also Welfare. So the function of the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries, they will provide the technical advice on reducing the level of radiation and monitoring, regulate input used in the production of food and feed. And then the function of the Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare in these issues is they will set the maximum level of radionuclides in food, and also they will disclose the monitoring result provided by the prefectural government. In addition, the Food Safety Commission of Japan will provide an insight into the health impact assessment of the radionuclides, and the Radiation Council of the Nuclear Regulatory Commissions harmonizes the technical standard for radiation protection. And with this system in place, Japan actually has strengthened its measures to protect the public against the threat of food contamination caused by the nuclear disaster. Right, for the second intervention is the food safety control in production and distribution of food. So where in this intervention, they actually have 3 stages that need to be implemented before the food can be supplied. The first stage is the general food safety measures, where in this production and distribution stages, the food security precautions are implemented, and the food safety has been roughly divided into measures at the production, such as decontamination of farmland and hydrospheres, then measuring at the distribution in order to preventing distribution of food that containing with the radioactive concentration that exceed the Japanese maximum level. And based on the Food Sanitation Act, the Japanese maximum level have been set and established for the radioactive concentration in food items in order to ensure the food safety. So the artificial radiation effect from ingesting food are mainly due to the concentration of radiocesium, and other radionuclides account for about 10% of the effect. Therefore, the Japanese maximum levels are set. However, if the Japanese maximum level have contaminated 50% of the food, the effective dosage absorbed by the most sensitive age group is predicted to be less than 1 MSY. So despite this, the radionuclide consumption limits differ depending on the gender and also age. For the second intervention is the food safety control in production and distribution of food. So where in this intervention, they actually have 3 stages that need to be implemented before the food can be supplied. The first stage is the general food safety measures, where in this production and distribution stages, the food security precautions are implemented and the food safety has been roughly divided into measures at the production, such as decontamination of farmland and hydrospheres, then measuring at the distribution in order to preventing distribution of food that containing with the radioactive concentration that exceed the Japanese maximum level. And based on the Food Sanitation Act, the Japanese maximum level have been set and established for the radioactive concentration in food items in order to ensure the food safety. So the artificial radiation effect from ingesting food are mainly due to the concentration of radiocesium and other radionuclides account for about 10% of the effect. Therefore, the Japanese maximum levels are set. However, if the Japanese maximum level have contaminated 50% of the food, the effective dosage absorbed by the most sensitive age group is predicted to be less than 1 MSY. So despite this, the radionuclide consumption limits differ depending on the gender and also age. So for the last stage is the safety measure at distribution. So in order to ensure safety of the distributed food, the prefectural government will monitor the food product based on the Japanese maximum levels of radiocesium that has been set by the Food Sanitation Act, where the food product exceed the Japanese maximum levels in a particular product from a specific area. Distribution of the product from that area will be suspended based on the Act on Special Measures Concerning Nuclear Emergency Preparedness. And through this system, the food products exceeding the levels are neither distributed nor exported. Moreover, the targeted product and duration are issued and amended periodically by the Nuclear Emergency Response Headquarters legislative action enacted to guarantee that food safety procedures are efficient. In addition, the food sanitation law actually has empowered the provincial governor to take administrative action if any business operators are caught in selling food that excess of Japanese maximum levels. Furthermore, the local authorities and monitoring organization also will be informed of the correct measurement procedures to ensure the accuracy of the measurement data so that no errors will occur. These radioactive particles in the foods are being constantly monitored and inspected, and the limitation on food distribution and also removal of this restriction are made depending on the monitoring finding. Plus, in this distribution level, there are main highlighted food testing flow in which standoff shredding, weighing, measurement, and analysis. And all of this process is to ensure the food is safe through continuous monitoring and inspection by the monitoring organization and also the prefectural government. That's all from me.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is FARAH binti ENJAFRI. So today I would like to present about the Fukushima nuclear disaster towards the food pollution. So the tragic nuclear accident that occurred at the Fukushima power plant in 2011 had a surprisingly negative impact on the food security since the radioactive radiation was highly exposed to the agricultural sector. The majority of the agriculture in the Fukushima was polluted by the radioactive material, which led to the production of the radioactively tainted vegetables, fruits, and other fresh food. Because of this, the availability of the farmers to produce food is reduced, which has a major and significant influence on the nation's food security. To begin, the government creates a bureaucratic agency known as the Nuclear Emergency Response Headquarters, which contributes to the implementation of the food safety procedure. In essence, it was this body responsibility to manage the radioactive level in the food through inspection methods. If it were discovered that the food included a high amount of the radioactive substances, then there would place restriction on the distribution of food to the final consumer. In addition to that, food safety control in production and distribution of the food was also being taken as an initiative to limit the chance of contaminated food reaching the client. This was done to prevent the food from being delivered.
My name is ADIBA and I will continue to for the downstream intervention and also upstream intervention. Alright, so we move on to the sum up for the downstream and upstream intervention as the way to cater the issues occur. So basically, as for the upstream intervention that mentioned by my friend earlier, is the Food Drug Administration, or called as FDA, will respond to this incident by establishing an alert code which known as #9933. The code is crucial to ban any contaminated product from involved import and export activity as it is unsafe for the end customer. So beside another intervention is for downstream intervention. It is one of the approach to cater the issue within their country itself. So basically, the government agencies respond to the issues. As just for example, the Japanese Ministry of Health, Labour and Welfare has taken action to do inspection in radiation contamination on food and directly ban number of shipments and the consumption for agriculture food. Therefore, this effort shows that the government are very concerned with the food that has the high risk of radioactive contamination from reaching its citizens. And I think that's all. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is NURUL binti ROSMAN, and today I will be explaining on the ASRI intervention related to the food pollution issue in the Fukushima. So one of them is the collaboration between the government of Japan with one of the agency located in the US federal government, which is Food and Drug Administration, or we can call it as FDA. The government of Japan has concern about the food product that risks being contaminated by the radionuclide and harmful for the human to consume it. So in this collaboration, the FDA has responded by issuing an import alert. So the term used is to refer that the product that needs to be banned from entering the import and export activities since it is not safe to consume. Once IA being informed, the product will fit for the detention without physical examination DWPE. So this means that any product becomes subject to the the FDA has the authority to detain the product from the shipment. So, according to the Section 801 of the Federal Food, Drugs and Cosmetic Act, the admission of the products into the United States under the FDA can be rejected and refused if it is forbidden or restricted by the country where it is produced. So, in this case, all the product produced in Japan will be taken for sampling in order to identify whether it is contain any radioactive substance like radionuclide and others. Next, for the second intervention, is the collaboration with the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA. So this agency is responsible for promoting safety, security and peace related to the nuclear field with the cooperation of its member states and partner worldwide. This cooperation will assist Fukushima Prefecture in a few field lab radiation monitoring, offsite decontamination and radioactive waste management. Besides, few report has been prepared by the IAEA and the Fukushima Prefectures. All the reports are documented, all the practice implemented in the practical arrangement between 2013 and 2020. So two of them were prepared by the IAEA and the rest was by the Japan Prefecture. One of the reports recorded the Fukushima Prefecture's effort in supervising the movement of the radionuclide in the river water and among the wildlife. So besides, with the aid of the IAEA, there's one project called Technical Cooperation Project. So the project is aimed to monitor the radioactive substance in the country near the Pacific Ocean. So this project has involving 21 of the IAEA member states and 3 non-member states are participating in the project involving Australia, Bangladesh, China, India, Indonesia, Japan and Republic of Korea and also Malaysia. So in this project, it will exchange the knowledge related to the data collected from ocean measurement related with the information on the effects on the radioisotope, risks related to the marine biota and the marine food consumption. In November 2011, a workshop has conducted in Monaco where the expert on the marine radioactivity from 21 countries that participated has agreed on the quality management system and information database for joint monitoring program and analysis. In this meeting, it also demonstrates the simple technique of sampling for the detection of cesium isotope in the sea.
Assalamualaikum, my name is ATIMA binti MIRMAN. So today I would like to explain on the downstream intervention for food safety regulation and inspection system by government agency. The government agency has taken action to do inspection of radiation contaminated food and banned numerous shipment and consumption of agri-food. It is because the Japanese Ministry of Health, Labour and Welfare (MHLW) confirmed that certain types of food has been contaminated with radioactive iodine that will risk human health. They took a request to stop sale of food products from Fukushima Prefecture. Raw milk is strictly prohibited to be exported domestically in Fukushima, Kitakata, Bandai, in Inawashiro, Mashini, and more includes in shipping restriction because these states are the nearest to the incident avenue. Other item that has restriction on the distribution to shipping is spinach, kakina, chrysanthemum, Korean lettuce, turnip, parsley, and many more. On 17 March 2011, the Ministry of Health, Labour and Welfare has introduced provisional regulatory limit for radionuclides in food product. Other than that, the MHLW also announced to use the ongoing provisional regulation for time to time and set up a provisional regulation value for radioiodine in seafood after that. And on 2012, the government introduced new limit of radioactive element in foodstuff, where Japan is more strict than international standard. The limitation for rice, meat, vegetable and fish cannot exceed 100 becquerel per kilogram, dairy product limited to 50 becquerel per kilogram, and drinking water at 10 becquerel per kilogram, and all these rates are actually below international standard. The Tokyo University of Agriculture East Japan Assistant Project has come up with a project in guiding principles, planning and reconstruction of the agri-food area with Soma City, Fukushima Prefecture. The project is focusing on helping people reconstruct the damaged paddy field technology and new farming strategy. And lastly, the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fishery has made a new policy in helping farmers to rebuild their farm by creating a scheme to offer financial aid.